Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Why did I have to think about that? Sorry, everything's just today. I know even my wrist hurts. I don't know what's happening today. All the things. Anyways, as you can see, I'm still a hot mess from yesterday, but and I don't even know why. Just my brain is. Maybe it's recalibrating, right? Doing the thing, whatever thing that is. I've also been in a hot cocoa mood. Hot cocoa. So, anyways, since my brain is doing whatever it's doing, let's do the God, seriously? This is how the show is going to be today. So, all right. Deep breaths, in, out, all the things. Good morning, Eileen. So, yeah, all right. So my brain is being ridiculous. So I've decided to go old school. Old school meaning back to the early days. I mean, you can even tell, right? Because my glasses aren't my usual show glasses. But anyways, we're going to do some affirmators. Oh, look, it makes all those pretty colors. All right, it makes all those pretty colors. So anyways, this is the 50 affirmation cards to help you help yourself without the self-helpiness. Cleanse your mind, empower your soul, rule the universe. And greater consciousness for those of us who don't live in ashrams. So, wisdom from about halfway up the mountain. I love that. I've never actually seen that before. Wisdom from about halfway up the mountain and magically unlock the power of the universe, kind of. So we're going to go with the affirmators today. Like I said, my brain is doing all kinds of funny things right now, and I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, I did some serious personal growth this weekend, and I always notice that when I do the personal growth stuff, it takes my brain a little bit of time to catch up, because it's trying to recalibrate to thinking more positively, to really kind of focus and think about what needs to be done ahead. So yeah, so we're just gonna, there we go. I didn't think I'd get that many, but okay, let's chitty chat about the three things. Oh God, what are those cards? One of those cards. It is my enemy. One of those cards. You'll know. So the first one, gentleness. I speak with gentleness and I listen with gentleness. I align with the gentlest part of myself and I take joy in being receptive, open, and unafraid. I am like a baby deer who's best friends with an elephant. A baby elephant. The baby elephant wraps its little trunk around my shoulders and we lie down gently on the grass, daydreaming and talking about what sorts of humans the clouds look like. So there you go. And it's a cloud with fun stockings. I have black and white ones like that. So anyways, I speak with gentleness and I listen with gentleness. I align with the gentlest part of myself and take joy in being receptive, open, and unafraid. So basically, I think what this is talking about is basically just being kind, being a listener, being a good listener, right? I mean, in what reality is a baby deer friends with a baby elephant? In this one. Because anything's possible. And when we stop worrying about the outside of someone or the choices of people, then, I don't mean choices, but like lifestyle choices or whatever, then once we pass through the judgment, we're able to see the person. And we're able to see this remarkable human being that might be standing in front of us that we would miss otherwise because of our own prejudices. So, gentleness and kindness, they go hand in hand. They truly do go hand in hand. I really think that this is just another word for kindness. You can't preach one thing and then be an asshole to somebody else. It's as simple as that. And I can't tell you, my soapbox may or may not get pulled out today. It all depends on where my brain's at. Peacefulness. Gentleness, peacefulness, all right? I have a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way so we can I'll keep enjoying it, and I can get my security deposit back. I forgot to tell you, these cards can be rather snarky McSnarky. So, yeah. So this one's about listening with kindness and listening with an open mind and an open heart. And this one's about keeping people safe. You know, keeping yourself safe, keeping your own personal space safe, right? I mean, who wants, sorry guys, oh my gosh, I know, I'm just all over the place this morning. But, yeah, anyway, it's a thing. To know me is to love me. To know me is to love me. So, anyways, or roll your eyes at me, one of the two. Anyways, peacefulness. Again, I have a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. So, this is really about standing up for what you believe in. You know, keeping the people around you safe that you love. We're living in a world of turmoil right now. Lots of turmoil. And where there's not enough gentleness, there's not enough people listening to one another, not enough people being open to one another, but a lot of people taking a very specific book and whacking people upside the head with it if they disagree with, you know, the other person's choices. But, you know, we're not God, okay? We're not whatever deity you turn your power to. We're not them. So what gives us the right to punish other people because we think we're doing the right thing? No, you're bullying. It's as simple as that. You're bullying. If you're mean to somebody for no other reason except for something that you read, which is really just an interpretation, to be honest with you. I mean, let's be controversial, right? The Bible is a history book, and yet people still refuse to learn from history. We have history books, and a lot of history is missing from those history books. Like, you know, I never even knew there was a Black Wall Street. I believe it was in Oklahoma. And they called it the riots in Oklahoma. And I think it was 1922, or yeah, I think it was 1922 or in the early 1900s. They were thriving. They were really going places. But people got jealous of them for no other reason than the color of their skin. And so they called it riots, but they weren't riots. It was a massacre. People came in, they bombed all their businesses, a lot of their homes. They basically destroyed this whole area and pretty much burned it to the ground. And yet, they call it a riot. It was not a riot. But that was missing from my history book. I mean, yeah, we had Harriet Tubman in there, we had Martin Luther King, but where was this? Where was that? This is about change. This is about understanding. This is about having that peacefulness in your heart so that we stop judging everybody for what we think is wrong. How do you know what you're doing isn't wrong? I don't know that what I'm not doing is wrong, but I am trying to put my light out there, so I'd like to think that I might rise a little higher than some people. And that's not tooting my own horn. That is, you know, exactly. Eileen put it perfectly. They wanted to control the narrative. That's why they called it the riots. Thank you. That's a perfect way to put it. My brain is just not, it's not firing on all cylinders right now. But so thank you, Eileen, because she put it perfectly. They wanted to control the narrative. That's why they called it riots. But a riot, if I remember correctly, are basically two sides going after each other, right? Not quite a war, but, you know, people destroying things. People, yeah. The African Americans weren't rioting. The white people were. Sorry, this isn't to be mean or call out white people. It's not. I'm half white, for God's sakes. It's calling out behavior. You know, I mean, there are plenty of wonderful people out there. You know, older sibling marched for civil rights when she was very young. Her parents marched with Dr. King. Her, you know, she grew up and, you know, she had a boyfriend who came in through the school from busing, and, you know, for the sad reality of it all, she had to hide him from her grandmother when her grandmother would come to visit, because her grandmother was from, sadly, the South. And I don't mean sadly, because I got a lot of friends that live in the South, but fortunately, their beliefs align with my own. Most of them. But, you know, there's a saying out there, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. I have it saved in my phone, but it's like, you know, when people just say, I like it this way. People don't like change. I hate change. I am a horrible, horrible person when it comes to change, because I freak out, and that's kind of what's happening to me now. My whole body structure is just changing. Everything, my mindset's changing. Everything's changing. And it's hard. It's difficult. And it's hard for me to formulate a thought. But on a big grand scale, change has to happen. You know, I was thinking. So I was rolling through Twitter one day, and they have this group called the 1776 group, right? They want to bring the country back to 1776. To which I looked at older sibling, who is a quarter Cherokee, and said to her, hey, great. Then we can give all the Native Americans their land back, and knowing what they know now, this country will never become a country. Because they'll fight for their land. They'll fight harder for their land. They won't be oppressed by people roaming through, going west. Countries have ugly histories. You know, I mean, England wasn't built in a day. Rome certainly wasn't built in a day. They have their own ugly histories. The only difference is we're a lot younger than those two countries. I mean, for all intents and purposes, we're what, 247 years old? I mean, yeah, we've been on this continent since, what, the late 1500s, early 1600s, but this country wasn't a country until 1776. So we're still toddlers in a way. And we're kicking and screaming like a bunch of fucking amateurs. Seriously. Yeah, there's the soapbox. There's the soapbox. We're treating people the same way we did 100 years ago. And why? Because people hide behind the Bible. I'm sorry. You know what? I grew up Catholic. I grew up, you know, turning my faith to God, turning my faith to Jesus, and I still do. But my spiritual table has grown. You know, there's a lot of deities out there. Christianity is not the only religion. Which is why I say the Bible is basically like a history book. It's a bunch of stories told to a bunch of guys who put it in a book. Bunch of men, okay? There are a lot of people out there who are atheists who believe the Bible is just here to control the narrative of a lot of people. And I'm starting to think they're right. I'm not bashing the Bible, because I think there's a lot of great lessons in there. But why is it that people always lean into the ugly things? Why can't they find that peacefulness in their heart? God is not a vengeful God. People say he is, but the God I know, the one I associate with, he's looking at all these people going, what the fuck are you thinking? Hello? Why are you taking all the bad parts and making bad things out of it? You know, to me the Bible is like a game of telephone. Any really kind of written word of God is like the game of telephone. Things are going to get misconstrued. Things are going to be said. And like I said, I'm not trying to be controversial, and I realize I am being controversial, because you know what? I grew up Catholic. I grew up very Catholic, with a very Catholic mother who couldn't understand why I would talk to my dad about things and not her, because I didn't want to be judged. Catholic guilt's a real thing. So is Jewish guilt. I've seen them both in action. So, but I'm not trying to bash the Bible. What I'm trying to make people understand is stop picking the things you're afraid of. Because there's a lot of Christians out there who accept everybody, who accept everyone across the board. There are religions where they teach a basic principle, and you can be any denomination and walk in there. You could be a Muslim, you could be a Christian, you could be a Baptist, which I know is still a Christian, or a Catholic is under the Christian, you know, umbrella. But I mean, you could be a Muslim, you could be a Hindu, you know, follower, a Buddhist. You could be anything you want to be, and you can walk in here and you're going to be accepted, because the umbrella they sit under is, you know, your higher power is here for you, whoever you choose. We're just going to give you the basic principles. We're going to teach you about gentleness. We're going to teach you about peacefulness. We're going to teach you about love. We're going to teach you about respect. We're going to teach you how to see somebody. Oh, see, look, I decided to pull the top card. Love. Love. Isn't that what life is all about? Love. Not necessarily romantic love, not necessarily, getting together one just to procreate, but loving one another, loving our fellow man, loving our fellow person. I have a lot of friends that are gay or fall under the rainbow flag, which doesn't even color all the colors, or doesn't even represent all the colors. There's a lot of different flags now for different things, and people are saying, well, I don't get it. I mean, I actually saw a post that said nobody was talking about this until kids were involved, basically talking about that stupid rule or that stupid law out in Florida. That's not true. In the 70s, older sibling marched for gay rights. She marched for friends who would lose their job if people found out they were gay. The 70s, okay? The fucking 70s. The 70s. I was born in the 70s. Okay? I mean, I was born at the tail end of what we would have called civil rights, but we're still fighting that battle too. How many more battles do we have to keep fighting before we fucking learn how to just look at one another, love one another, accept each other for who and what they are? Not what, but I mean who and what they represent, what they stand for. People get all bent out of shape nowadays because of inclusivity. Why? Do you know what it's like running around being a half-breed? It's not fun. Because no matter what I try to cycle into, I'm never enough. I'm not white enough. I'm not Asian enough. I'm not Hawaiian enough. Believe it or not, I actually have about 4% African American in me. That's right. I'm probably going to, say that between my Hawaiian blood and that blood, which was actually my great-great-grandparents, my great-great-grandmother married an African American man and had babies. And poof, here we are today. But that's not why I'm on my soapbox. I'm on my soapbox because it's the year 2023. We're in the 21st century. And we're nowhere near where we should be. In the next 50 years, right? In 53 years, we're going to be 100 or 300 years old. But where are we going to be in 53 years? Are we going to be still fighting this fight? Are we just going to keep repeating every century, these decades over and over again? That's my question. Why can't we find it in our hearts to have gentleness? You know why? Because the minute I start saying something that's controversial on this show, someone's going to click it off. If they haven't already. Because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to see, behaviors. I'm not perfect. I'm not even close to perfect. I get judgy from time to time. But my judgment is shifted to just stupid people. I have a prejudice against dumb people. And I don't mean dumb like not smart. I mean just assholes. Bigots, racists, all those fucking douchebags. Sorry. This is my language today. Because I'm pissed. I'm really pissed. And maybe that's why my brain has felt so discombobulated, because I have been trying so hard to come up with a show just to talk about Pride Month. So, I'm a proud ally. Like I said, I have a lot of friends and family members. Well, not a lot of family members, but I have friends and family members who are gay. My best friend since high school is gay. And I will battle for them. I will fight for them. I will go to war for them if I have to protect them and their rights. Because who am I? Who am I to say? Right? Who am I to say? Because the Bible tells me so? No. Because there's a commercial. There are commercials all on TV now, right? That Jesus loved everybody. They're non-denominational. I know the story behind them, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't think that's important. Because then people are going to lose the meaning on it. But it's about how Jesus would have accepted everybody. How Jesus was basically a hippie. Jesus was basically a hippie. Long hair, sandals. But it wasn't just his look. It was the way he treated people. And actually, if you really stop and think about it, Jesus was, well, I guess he was kind of a hippie because he protested things. But for the most part, I think Jesus was more of a flower child. He spread love. He spread joy. He spread forgiveness. He tried to teach us forgiveness. Funny, that's in the Bible, but see, people don't seem to see that because they're afraid. But the question is, and this is something that's been rolling around in my mind, why are people so afraid? Is it because of the Bible, or is it because you're afraid what your neighbor's going to think? If someone is gay, if a gay couple comes over to your house, or whatever, is it because you're worried about what people are going to think? Oh my God, that's a sin. The last time I looked, loving somebody with all your heart and being a soulmate, I don't see how that's wrong. Except because of a book written by a bunch of men. There's one thing that was very fascinating about my upbringing. I was raised by a Catholic and basically an agnostic / atheist. Like I said, my dad was on one day when we talked about this. He's, I'm an atheist. But then later he's well, maybe I'm an agnostic. So depending on the day, there's either a higher power or nothing up there for him. So he made me question a lot of things, which would kind of irritate my mom. But he would ask me, or he would ask both of us, have you guys ever thought about what was happening in the rest of the world while this Bible was going on? Because there were things going on in the rest of the world. You don't hear about China in there. You don't hear about the Pacific Islanders in there. You don't hear about the Native Americans in there. But there was things going on. And it was a good point. And I thought, wow. In fact, I thought, what if, and I don't know if the timelines match or not, but believe it or not, I actually read this somewhere else and I felt so validated because I thought for those 20 some odd years, or around 20 some odd years that Jesus was, had, I don't want to say gone missing, but kind of just fell out of view for a while. Because, it ends when he's 12, it picks up where he's about, 32? What if he was traveling the world, meeting all these people? What if he met Muhammad? What if he met Buddha? What if he brought all these teachings with him and taught it to other people? We put so much stock in one thing, but when you really stop and think about it, it's like a guideline. Any book can be a guideline. And like I said, I'm not here to Bible bash. I'm not. There's still a part of me that's always going to be Catholic. There's still a part of me that's always, going to have God in my life and Jesus. Like I said, my spiritual table is very vast. It has grown. It has grown because there's others out there who we can seek guidance from. The reason I think people are cruel and mean is out of fear. But fear is taught. Hatred is taught. So why can't we flip the narrative? Why can't we look at the beauty of a person without looking at the way society looks at them? Because I think that's where growth comes from. Remember, like I said, the people that persecute gay people now, right? I mean, Christians were persecuted centuries ago. And even not that long ago either. If I remember correctly, when the whole Gulf thing started again in the early 2000s after 9/11, there were a lot of Christians I was reading. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's fine. But I was reading that a lot of Christians were just grateful because now they could worship in public. They were having to worship in private and hope they didn't get caught. And this is this century. And all of a sudden they're free to worship openly. And yet, here we are, here we are just condemning people. I read an article. It's funny. It just popped in my head and I don't know where it came from. So probably Archangel Gabriel. I was reading an article and this one gentleman decided, he's going to travel the country and take a picture of the outside of just strip clubs. Because some of them are fascinating, right? They have pretty outsides. They're pretty, I don't know what they look like on the inside. And I'm being honest, I don't know what they look like on the inside. Not a prude, just never been. But what he found was interesting. In the Bible Belt itself is where he found the majority of them. And he would notice that after the church bells rang, poof, people were filling up these places. And yet, is it possible that because we can't control things in our own lives, we get mad at other people who can? Is it possible that the reason, we're so hard on gay people, not we, but sometimes society, certain bits of society are hard on them because they're different, because maybe there's something lying within us that says, oh, maybe I'm different. Or maybe because, you don't care, but you're worried about what your neighbor thinks. Do we treat people of color that way? I mean, look what happened when COVID came around. And a certain former president just started making all these really stupid fucking comments. And then Asian hate crimes went on the rise. I take that a little personally because I'm half Asian. At least this week the Filipinos are Asian. Next week we might just go back to being Pacific Islanders again. But the point is, I was raised in the Hawaiian culture that is very, very, foundationed by Asian culture. And it made me mad. But you would see beautiful acts of kindness coming from it too. There was a young African American boy. He was in San Francisco and he saw an Asian woman, and people were starting to gather around her and calling her names, and he just stepped right in and walked her across the street. And she thanked him, and he's like, hey, I get it. And I don't know if they stayed in touch. But he stepped in because he saw something wrong. In fact, they had a whole group up in the Bay Area that, you could call if you needed to go out or you needed to, get some errands done, and they would go with you and kind of protect you. So another thing I learned during that time is, how to diffuse a situation without confronting the person being the perpetrator, right? And you just kind of sit down next to them, very quietly tell them, hey, my name is so-and-so, and let's see what we can do to are you okay? And if they say, yeah, well, are you sure? And say, okay, well, I'm just going to sit with you for a bit. If they say they're not okay, you can just say to them, hey, do you want me to help you get out of this situation? Sure. So you just start talking. Could you just talk to me like you know me? Yeah, how's it going? Good, great to see you again, blah, blah, blah. Hey, want to go get some coffee? Sure. And hopefully you can diffuse that situation. Sometimes the person who's being the yammerer might follow you. But for the most part, if you can get into a place where it's a little more crowded, you're probably going to stop it. And at no time was any attention paid to the person being the douchebag. Just slip right in. And then remove them from the situation. And that is one of the biggest ways to diffuse a situation. If it gets really bad, you could probably even call 911. Right? So when I talked about my dad earlier, and my dad was raised in a religion, which is one of the reasons why it was more of a cultist type of religion, my opinion only. But, it's not my opinion only. A lot of people share my opinion, but it kind of pushed him away from religion, and it kind of made him to this place where, like I said, he's either an agnostic or a atheist, depending on the day. But the reason I bring that up is because this dude knows the Bible from end to end, from cover to cover. I mean, there were times when he would tell my mom, no, actually, that's not right. That was over here, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure over time it starts to slip out of your mind and he can't. But when I was younger, he remembered quite a bit. Because that was their whole thing, studying the Bible every Sunday, not being able to play, not being able to go out, not be able to do things, not be able to be a kid. And I feel bad for my dad, because, I feel like he missed this whole childhood that could have been amazing because of that. And I think that's why, he really kind of wanted to make sure that my upbringing in religion was balanced. Don't forget, there were other things happening over here. And, I don't have a problem with, growing up Catholic. What I have a problem with is the way they kind of shun people, right? I mean, there's a baseball team that uninvited a group of people for their Pride Night. And it was because, they felt that they made fun of religion, which I'm not totally sure is, like, I mean, the way they come about it is the way they come about it. I mean, if you're going to ask me, it's like, well, you're going to cancel Halloween next? Because lots of people do that. Lots of people dress up as nuns. Spooky nuns, sexy nuns. But people were missing the big thing. The reason they were invited was because of their service to community. They were receiving an award for service to community. But who focused on that? No, what they focused on was a bunch of gay men dressing up as nuns, possibly being disrespectful. I personally think it was funny. I was born, I was born and raised Catholic, okay? Nuns were a part of my life growing up. But, like I said, you're going to cancel Halloween? They missed the whole point. Isn't what God wants is for people to be of service to other people? For people to make other people not feel alone? For people to be of community and service? But fuck me, they missed that. All these people complaining missed the point. They missed the point. These people were being honored. This group was being honored because of their service to community. But everyone got hung up on how they did it, And yet, these same people who were being picked on and were uninvited, then invited by the Angels manager, and then re-invited to the other team. I might as well just say it was the Dodgers. I mean, everybody's got to know this by now. They were re-invited. But then one of the players, which makes me sad, because I actually like this player, and it's, that's okay. That's their choice. But what really made me start thinking about it was this. You're mad because of what this group of people are doing, despite the fact that they're being of service to the community, and yet religion marginalizes them. Religion bashes them. Religion makes them, just feel unloved. And yet I know so many people. I knew a person who was gay, and she's since passed. But she couldn't tell anybody because she didn't want to be kicked out of the Catholic Church. But I'll be damned. Every weekend that she could make it, she was there at church, in her pew, sitting there. And I don't know if it was an open secret. There's a lot of open secrets in LA. But it was sad that she had to hide who she was to worship God. I don't think that's what God wants. Is that what you think God wants? I can feel like 1,000 different people right now that just, would watch this later and say, you don't effing know. It's like, I do know. But I also know I'm more open-minded than a lot of people. And it's taken me a long time to get there. It's taken me a long time to understand that. I mean, I went to a bar with my friend. It's called Red Wing. That's it, in North Park in San Diego. It was a gay bar. And we just met for lunch. And she's like, hey, this is a great place. They have really great food there. Do you like tater tots? Oh my God, you said my magic word, tater tots. And there we are. And everybody was so nice, so sweet. They had Pride things out because Pride was right around the corner. It wasn't quite June yet, but Pride was right around the corner. And I love the sign in the opening. This is a gay-owned operation. Everybody's welcome, no matter who you are, what you look like. But do not disrespect the people here. They didn't say it that exactly, but, it was just saying, we will not tolerate poor behavior. And it's just to have to see a sign like that when you walk in, because people can be so mean and so cruel. It's hurtful. It's sad. And I feel for my friends and my family members who probably feel marginalized. I do. Because what can we do? I don't think people, I think people hide behind the Word of God because of their own fears. I do. I think there's a lot of people that I've known in my own life who hide behind the Bible because of their own fears. But there's a lot of people that, welcome everybody. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not bashing Christians. I'm just bashing the dumb ones. And yeah, I'm saying the dumb ones. I'm saying the ones that don't see people just for who they are. Who cares what somebody does behind closed doors? I mean, even if you're straight, I don't want to know what you're doing behind your doors. I mean, if I ever get a boyfriend, I don't want people knowing what I do behind my doors because it's my private business. Who I welcome into my home, what I do with whoever in my bedroom, that's private. That's personal. That's the ultimate closed door, right? Your personal space, your bedroom space. But we got to stop being so mean to people. We got to stop sitting there and, retweeting and remarking on people's ignorant behavior. West Hollywood Pride was last weekend, and I guess Lance Bass was there from NSYNC, and sibling and I just saw it on the crawl yesterday morning. But he says, Pride is a protest, and it is. Pride actually started as a protest. I believe it was in 1969. And it started at Stonewall, which was in New York, I believe. And the whole, they marched to, I believe, Central Park in protest of what had happened. And I'm going to talk about that more. I've needed to get my brain together so that I can deliver something that is better than just throwing it together like I am now. But why do people, we have Black History Month. We have Asian American, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Month. We have Mexican Heritage Month. I know there's a lot of different other months for heritage and this and that. And I know there's a lot of people saying, well, but what about us? It's like every day is like you. Okay, every day. And I think it's sad that when it comes to Pride, a bunch of people who should be excited about the achievements over the last 54 years alone can't even celebrate that. Because the minute June 1st hits and the minute everyone's saying, hey, happy Pride, all the people coming out with their little books, slapping people over the head with them, bashing people, hurting people, being prejudiced against people. If you want to go out there and hate, fine. But I have a warning for you. What you think you're doing and you think is right by hurting other people, you are going to answer for it in your afterlife. And you may think I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm going to answer for. But maybe not. Because I've done my work. I've done my work to change. And I'm not going to sit here any longer and pretend that this world is okay when it's falling apart. We need to be better people. We need to be gentle and kind and be better listeners. We need to find that peacefulness in our heart and allow everybody in, everybody to be welcomed. Everybody to be welcomed. You know why I think this house looks like this? Because I think it was intended for it to be like a gypsy. And gypsies were very marginalized. There were very, very cruel people against them. Just because they were different. But you're different to somebody else. I'm different to somebody else. I mean, you should see people scratching their heads when I tell people that, Laura's my older sibling. They're like, wait, what? Are you guys adopted? No, she's my fucking soul sister. Okay? But my family is not just in my DNA. It's in my heart. Which is over here. It's in my heart. And that's important to me. Because I do my best to see people for who they are. If you're an asshole, I don't care what your orientation is. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. All right? Period. But if you're a kind, wonderful, loving human being who just goes out of their way to not be cruel to people, that does their best to make people feel accepted and loved and not marginalized, then hey, you're my tribe, you're my people. And I know sometimes we're all gonna judge, right? We all get judgy. Give people a few drinks and they get judgy. But when you go out of your way to hurt people, when you go out of your way to make laws that hurt people, when you go out of your way to preach horrible, horrible things that give rise to hate groups, we got a problem. So all of you out there, whether you do it publicly or you do it on a personal level, keep spreading your light. Because the darkness, it's getting to be a bit much. And we need to start shining our lights. We need to be a bunch of little fucking Care Bears getting out on our porch and just shining that light. Okay? Seriously, I'm sorry for all the language today, but these are the things that really upset me. They really upset me. Because I think people just deserve to live their own life as they want to live it. Unless you're a serial killer or a criminal. In which case, you need to be dealt with. But I mean, just... I know, going to the extremes. Because they'll be like, oh, there's always that one person that's going to say something. Oh, so it's okay for a serial killer to be... No. If you're a bad person, you need to be dealt with. Okay? You need to get your ass put into place by your higher power. Big time. But if you're a good person, if you're a person that goes out there and tries and just, even if you have to change, how hard can it be? I know change isn't easy, but you know why change isn't easy for me? Because I refuse to accept it, because I'm struggling with it. Because I'm struggling to realize that I deserve wonderful things, that I deserve a good life, that I am worthy. Worthiness has been my biggest hang-up. Feeling worthy. Get out there, be a kind human being. Open doors for people. Say hello, greet people. Don't worry about, judging other people, because that's not going to get you anywhere. That's just going to make you a douchebag. Seriously. So anyways. Alright, I'm putting the soapbox down. Or getting off the soapbox. That did not go the way I planned. I had no idea that was all in me, but maybe that's what was stuck in me. Is me just, look, even the cards got rainbows on them. It's Pride Month cards. But actually they're not, but they could be. Just go out there and be a better person. I work on it every day. There are times when I get judgy and I think, well, maybe I should just pray for this person, or maybe I should just gratitude something for this person, or maybe I should do this, that, or the other for this person. But I do get judgy. I get judgy about the people who are judgy in certain specific areas of this country and certain specific areas of this world. I don't care who you are. If you're part of a hate group, you're an idiot. Sorry, it's true. If you're a part of a hate group, you have no business being on this planet. And I don't want people to die. That's not my goal. My goal is that I think people need to just sit down and really ask themselves why. Why am I so angry at everybody? Why do I hate everyone? Is it because it was what I was taught? That we have to hate a certain group of people? That, they're beneath us? That we're superior to other people? If you were taught that, why do you go along with it? I'm probably saying a lot of things that would probably get me in trouble. Just as a disclaimer, I do not wish anyone dead. I do not wish bad things on people. What I wish is that they would be hit by a love bomb. And that their eyes would open. And that they start to see that, you might be missing out on a lot of wonderful things. I read an article last week about a gentleman whose father wouldn't talk to him because he was gay. For years and years and years. And, he went off and, he had kids. And they were his. They had a surrogate, but one of them was biologically his, one of them was biologically his partner's or husband's. And it took years and years and years. And I can't even imagine that when your kids get to a certain age, they're like, well, how come I'm just meeting you now? How do you explain that? As long as kids have a loving family, it shouldn't matter. Okay? I mean, just because you have a guidebook that says this is how it should be doesn't mean that things don't change. History books don't stay the same. History books change. Do you think the Bible hasn't been rewritten a million times? Oh, it has. It has. People pick and choose and reinsert things that fit their narrative. And like I said, I'm not trying to be controversial. People, I mean, I might be a bit of a lapsed Catholic, but I believe in God. It's just the God like I said, the God I believe in is not so hateful and spiteful. He's not so fire and brimstone. And trust me, I've gotten a lecture on that too. Right on Facebook. Sharing my own personal beliefs on Facebook. And all of a sudden I get a lecture about how I misunderstand. It's like, no, I haven't misunderstood. Okay? I'm very, very clear and specific on how the Bible works. You know, just because I don't go to church now doesn't mean I didn't a billion times when I was a kid. I used to go twice. That's right, because I would have to go with my school, because I was in Catholic school, and then I'd have to go with my mom 2 days later. So, it's not about being bitter. It's about finding my own spirituality and where it fits in my life, and realizing that, you know, there's so many good stories in the Bible that we don't focus on. We focus on all the negative stuff. I mean, come on. You want something that has war, violence, and sex? That's the Bible, sister, brothers, everybody. But we ignore that, right? We ignore that. We take what fits, and then we throw it out there in whatever way we think we want to throw it out there. And I'm not necessarily sure that's the right way to do things. It's a guideline, how to be kind to one another, how to love one another. You know, I mean, there's the 10 Commandments. How many people follow those? And yet they turn around and they bash other people. Right? Right. So, I know, I'm sitting on my high horse right now. And I'm probably not coming off all that great. But at this moment, I don't really care. I don't. I'm so angry with this world right now, and I'm so angry at how everyone thinks they're so much better than someone else just because, you know, they practice a certain faith or whatnot. You're no better than the next person next to you. Everybody brings something beautiful to this table, and the sooner people start to see that and stop hiding behind their fears and their judgments and their hatred, I think the sooner this world can get back on track. It's up to us. Like I said, all of us out there who feel this way or who feel that there could be more love in this world, we just need to shine our little Care Bear hearts. You know, shine the hell out of our Care Bear hearts and put this light back into this world, because it's getting dark and it's getting grim. And, you know, until we learn how to stand up for one another and stop bashing one another, it's just going to keep getting darker. So, it's time. Alright? It's time. So, wow, that was deep today. Like I said, I went a little more sideways than I thought I would. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. These are Tuesday thoughts, okay? These are my thoughts. And, I'm not particularly happy with the way the world is going, but it is what it is. And like I said, all I can do is my part to try to put some good back in this world. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Tomorrow is Self-Care Wednesday. It will be a lot more lighthearted and fun tomorrow. Just think about what I said. Okay? I mean, the sad thing is the majority of the people that are going to watch this are already people who yeah, I don't judge anyone, but I get what you're saying. I'm not here to rile people up and make you hate people who bash other people, all right? What I'm saying is maybe we have to come at this at a different angle. Maybe instead of hating people and being angry at the really dumb people, just if you pray for them. If you gratitude for them. If you manifest, try to manifest a better outcome for this person. Because, you know, responding to them with hate isn't going to help. And I know I need to work on that because I'm very angry. I'm very angry. And I'm sure that my anger is not helping in this world. I'm sure I'm just adding to the darkness while trying to add the light. So it gets a little confusing, and I think maybe they negate each other. So clearly I have a lot of things I need to work on too. But let's do it together. Okay, let's spread that positivity, put that light back in the world, and really kind of show the world, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. Love is love. All right? People are people. The color of a person's skin or an orientation of a person's lifestyle should not determine whether we like them or not. You know, how kind they are, how good they are to other people. You know, how nice they might be to other people. That's what we need to judge people on. We need to judge people on who they are, not the choices or the color of their skin. That's not a choice. They're just born that way. We're all born that way. You know? I mean, I'm gently tanned my entire life. 365. You know, 24/7, 365, 66, depending on the year. Put me out in the sunlight. I have a great meme about Asians in the summer, how we progressively get darker. But I tan well. What can I say? But I was already born tan too, so not a problem. But anyways, believe it or not, I have had people be prejudiced against me. All types, all races. But the one thing I remember the most is being 14 years old, standing on the corner, because I was the captain of the safety patrol. And so I always took point. Because, you know, that way I could keep an eye on everybody and make sure everybody was safe. And this gentleman, well, that's being kind, comes up to me. And he was homeless, he was drunk. You could tell he was drunk. I could smell that he was drunk. Maybe even high, I don't know. But just, he starts calling me every name in the book. Every derogatory name in the book. And then he looks at me and says, well, I'm just calling you that because I can't figure out what the F you are. And I just stood there. And one of my friends who was working on what we called the third corner, which was about 2 lights away, you know, like 1 and then 2, comes. I mean, I thought he was going to cross that street kitty corner because he was worried because this guy was just literally in my face. You know, I mean, he was about 6 inches from my face. And I just had to stand there because I couldn't respond. I had to make sure I got all the kids off safely and across the street. But there was no one crossing that other end, and we knew all the kids that would go that way had gone. So he came back over, and, you know, the guy was still yelling at me. He's all, what do you want me to do? I said, go get a teacher. And I had to make sure that all the kids got there safely, because some of them were sitting there like, you know, and I was just like, don't listen, just go, you know. And one of my other friend who was on the other corner kind of came over to help cross them, you know, and get them out of there. But for about 3 or 4 minutes straight, that's all I got was hatred spewed at me. I was 14 years old. 14. That was 36 years ago, and it's still fresh in my mind as if it happened yesterday. So the next time you want to spew garbage at people, especially children or teenagers, which is what I was at the time, but still in the eyes of other people, a child, think about what it's going to do to them. Okay? You can't take back words. You can say you're sorry, but you can't take it back. You can't, as an older sibling would say, you can't unring a bell. So if you're going to ring that bell, you better make sure that to prepare for the consequences. Why are we raising our kids in hate? Why are we raising these people to be adults and to hate other people? Because it was ingrained in us? Because it was intuned in us? Fuck that. No, it's wrong. But anyways, I can go forever, right? We're supposed to have ended this show about 10 minutes ago. So anyways, have a great day. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow. Self-Care Wednesday. Let's do something fun tomorrow for Self-Care Wednesday. Get off this soapbox of anger. And, yeah. You know, the funny thing is, guys, I can feel my brain kind of recircling now. Like the wagons are circling. I feel like this was all just trapped in me. And that's why I haven't been able to really function or focus or think. You know, sometimes our life purpose comes at us in the strangest way. And I really feel like, you know, a lot of us are meant to spread light in this world. But the sad thing is sometimes we have to go a little dark in order to do it. And I'm willing to fight for the people I care about. I really am. You know, I mean, if it were a physical one, I'd probably get my ass kicked. But I would still stand up for those I care about that can't stand up for themselves. You know, older sibling is one of my heroes because of all the things she's done for battling her CRPS to, you know, marching against really, you know, bad people, you know, to protect those that she cared about. And like I said, you know, she never got hit, but she got spit on. And that's when she was marching for civil rights. But she says, I made the mistake. I thought it was when she was marching for gay rights. But she's like, no, but she's all, you can use it because it works. But, you know, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Civil rights, period. Civil rights, gay rights. The fact that somebody would spit on somebody else is just disgusting. And that was for civil rights, okay? That was, you know, for something that, you know, should have been done by now. And we're still having this fight. We're still fighting this fight. You know? I don't know. But anyways, I could go on for days. I could. So tomorrow, Self-Care Wednesday. Have a great, great day, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in there. If you were able to hang in there, I'm sorry this was all over the place. I hope I did not offend anybody. Offending people is not my position. Educating people or trying to get people to open their eyes and see people just for who they are is my ultimate goal. So if I offended anyone, I do apologize. But I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and please, please, please take care of yourselves.